What's the deal with Twitch killing VTubers? Let's not say killing. That's a big word for handing out some bans and warnings. Basically, from what I understand, so many people have been doing things here and there that are technically against TOS, but they always allowed because it was skirting a line. And they decided at some point, someone did, instead of allowing people to skirt a line, they're going to suddenly decide to crack down on their pre-existing rules. So you could say both things. You could say, well, the rules have always been there, but you could also say, yeah, but you let people push the line to a certain point, and then when you suddenly pull it back, even if you tap the sign and say, oh, it's always been there, you never enforced it. So that confuses people. That's very confusing. You have to be clear and consistent, you know? So that's, I don't know. I just feel like it's not good. It ain't good. And like on both sides, because for me, I'll never skirt the line. I'll never skirt the line because I know at any point they could do that. They could tap the sign and go, we've decided to enforce it today. You know what I mean? So I'm like, that's valid, but also like just weird to suddenly do it. You know what I mean? Like, it's just confusing. So it seems like there's something wrong with the content judging algo. Well, there are some things that you will never know about, like you'll never know how they happened, but some of this could be people, not Twitch staff. People on the site, viewers, just reporting people. So suddenly someone's content is getting reviewed when normally it wasn't getting reviewed, you know? So like, you wouldn't know if this is, people are like, oh, Twitch's algo sucks. And I'm like, no, I think it's actually people like going in and pressing a button to report, you know? Human sense swimsuit. Well, the thing is, yeah, that's stuff like that. It's like, you're supposed to be in the beaches category. So I'm like, okay, I get it. But also her swimsuit wasn't really that crazy. So, you know, the fruit get a warning because her new outfit is a bit too much. Well, they don't allow underboob. They don't, you know? So I said something and I was like, what you gonna wear on stream though? You know what I mean? So, but I get why. Twitch hates underboob. I personally fully agree. Like I always have. I fully agree with what the outfit rules are. It's the fact that sometimes it's enforced very unevenly that is confusing that I don't like. But I think what the rules are makes sense to me. They allow cleavage but not underboob. Okay. Yeah, because, you know, as a woman wearing a shirt, you can't really, like, control the cleavage without dressing like a nun all the time. But you can absolutely make sure you're not wearing shit that shows underboob, like if you're a flesh streamer. So that makes sense to me. That rule makes sense. They also have a rule for bottoms where you have to have, like, you can't wear basically, like, a sling bikini, one that goes, like, a straight line from, like, your crotch all the way up to your shoulder. And then, like, shows your whole side. You have to have some sort of ring of fabric near the hip area that is a consistent ring all the way around somewhere. Right? And I'm like, yeah, I agree with that. I agree with that. I get that, you know? And then they're like, yeah, things that show this amount have to be in this category. Okay, I agree with it. So I never like had a problem with what the rules were. It was just always a bit gray area with how they enforce it. And that was the point that when people complain, I'm like, just because they decided to tap the sign today didn't mean the sign wasn't always there. The sign was always there, you know? So I think everyone should just play it safe and add toggles. That's what they should do. Add toggles that add fabric or whatever if you're unsure of something. And, you know, you can always use those outfits that might show a bit more for other content, other places. There are places where it's totally fine. And then, you know, just use like the right thing for the right site. I don't know. It's a shame because, hey, I love when people wear outfits that show skin. I think if it looks great, it looks great, right? Like, from a personal perspective, hell yeah, brother. But at the same time, like, I get the rules. I get why, you know. There's a lot of, like, young people on the site and everything. And if you have that demographic data being handed to an advertiser, but then they also go to the homepage and they see, like, a lot of underboob and stuff, it gives those advertisers the wrong impression. And then they're going to stop putting ads on the site. And then the site will make no money. And then everyone crashes and burns. You know what I mean? So I'm like, I get it. It's separate from my personal feelings on what I think is like fine to look at. You know, it's more like I get it from the realistic perspective that things are the way they are. Yeah, because you don't want to scare the host. Exactly. Did you hear a VTuber supposedly has a secret set of second rules that they won't be told? No. I'm not sure what you're talking about, but we all follow the same rules. And some people will have to be extra careful around certain rules because of the nature of their entire stream. Okay, there's something with their character or something that makes it so that you have to be really careful about certain things. That's just how it is. But yeah, a lot of people on Twitter have been fear-mongering about rule sets and things. And I think it's just fear-mongering. I think Twitch is, you know, they're just tapping the sign. Any of my friends that have had issues, honestly, like, even if you agree or disagree with a situation, whenever someone's told them about something, they've always been able to tap a sign and be like, this is why this warning was made or, you know, whatever. And like, I get it. And there's some times where some things I'll see someone complain and I'll be like, yeah, I have no idea why that happened. That's weird. Like, oh, I don't know why they were warned about this thing. I don't know why they're banned for this thing. There are times where that happens. There are other times where people get warned or banned for things and they're like, how could this happen? And I'm like, I absolutely fucking know how that happened because you broke this rule, you know? Where they'll be like, I broke a rule, but I didn't mean to. And I'm like, so should anyone be able to say, oh, I didn't mean to though? Oh, my intent was good though? No, to be consistent, they have to even-handedly lay down a punishment for breaking a rule, no matter why you did it, right? Now that sucks if something was a bit more accidental, but like, you know, so I don't know. Sometimes I get it, sometimes I don't. They're not the best on communicating what the bannable segment was either. Yeah, they should, in my opinion, if you get banned or whatever, you should get a report with a few things in there. It should be like, here's the VOD, here are timestamps of what happened, right? Usually they do point, actually they always do point to the exact rule. And then you should be able to reply if you're a creator. I think honestly, if you are an affiliate, you should always get a response, in my opinion. And you should be able to reply and be like, can you clarify XYZ, right? Like, how did it break the rule? I don't understand. And have them do that. Now, that takes manpower, and they did cut like half their employees last year. So, you know, maybe they're genuinely incapable of doing it, not because they are inept, but because they don't have the manpower. I think that's actually part of the problem. Because people are like, why is this suddenly happening? And I'm like, did you forget how many employees they laid off? Did you forget how many people they had to because there's no money on the site, you know? Most people want to know exactly what exactly they're being banned for as not to do it anymore. Yeah, that's the thing. I think for most people, it's good faith, right? When they're like, I don't know what I did, I didn't get it, or why did I get banned for this thing? I thought it wasn't that bad, whatever. I think they're always like genuinely not understanding it and it needs to be explained to them, or like there's actually an appeal there, right? I'm pretty sure it's almost always good intentioned. It's not people want to come back and just break rules. They're just like, I don't know why. Am I not getting something here? You know, like I don't think I've ever seen, especially with VTubers, I don't think I've really seen VTubers complain about like some punishment they've been handed down. And usually not, some of them have, but for the most part, none of them have been like, these rules are fucking dumb, change them. Most of the time they're like, can I just get clarification so I can follow the rule? Right? They're just like, I just don't get it. I will say though, I have absolutely seen some be like shitty about it and be like, I'm going to keep breaking this rule because blah, 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 or whatever. You know what I mean? And they're like, Twitch sucks. And I'm like, ugh. Don't bite the hand that feeds you kind of thing. Like if you're not happy with the service, then go stream somewhere else. I understand that absolutely sucks if you've built your whole thing here, but if you're going to complain about it and try to break rules, whatever, on purpose, like for those few people that are like that, just go to a different platform, man. But in my experience, almost all of them, they seem to be in good faith. You know, they just want to understand rules so they can like not mess it up. I will say, even though it's kind of automated, right? And it's just like, well, here was the rule set. Here's the rule that you broke. Tap the sign, go on your way. I will say that for the most part, getting that is still better than what you get on a lot of other platforms. And I think a lot of people don't realize that, maybe because they haven't used these other platforms very much. But for the most part, most other platforms, when you do get banned or you have an issue or whatever, they give you no specifics. They don't even tell you what rule it was. Like, it's so bad. It's so bad. So at least they give you something to go off of. I just wish that then when you push on it and you want to know more, that like you get some sort of something back, a sign of life, you know, something, anything. I have not seen a single content site put enough resources into real people to answer shit like this. And I wonder if it's just never going to be cost effective, genuinely. I feel like at this point, the business model just will never have the money for that. I don't know. I've never seen a site for content that has enough real people checking up on shit like this. Is it possible even? Like, I wonder what the reality of this is. Like, how realistic is it to actually get it to that point? Because people be like, they should hire people for this. And I'm like, can they ever? Not just can they right now, can they ever? I don't know, man. So I don't know. That's just kind of like the question that floats in my head. So I feel like explaining rulings leads to people coming up with all kinds of excuses why they didn't break that rule. That is very true as well. And like, I don't have the data on that. They might have the data on that. I wonder if someone gets banned and you explain the rule, how often do they keep arguing it? How often is that conversation a lost cause from the website's perspective? Therefore, from their business decision and strategic perspective, does it make sense for them to actually just not do it? Yeah, what Nick said, probably more often than not, actually. So I'm like, I don't know. I don't think that's a good reason for them to not have it at all, but like it's a good reason for them to maybe automate a good amount of it, right? Which is why it is the way it is. Probably, maybe. That's my guess. That is my informed guess, but I don't know. But I don't know. I've never had a problem with any rules. So I can't relate. It's hard to relate, man. Devil's advocate argument, can understand why they don't get so specific with it, though. The more specific you are, the more rules lawyers they're going to get, taking every last loophole they can. If you leave things vague, then people that don't want to be banned are incentivized to not push the line. Yeah, I fully agree. This is from my work experience, so not related to Twitch, but my real life work, quote unquote, experience. I find that, yes, if I had to discipline an employee for breaking a rule, if I had to take a responsibility away from someone because they didn't do a thing, always, the more detail you gave, the more they pushed back and got fucking annoying about it. But when you were more vague about it and you said, look, you broke a rule, just don't do this thing again. When you're just like concise with it, they're much less likely to fight back. But yes, the more you explain and the more you talk about it, they think it's an open conversation to the extent where they can, oh, maybe I can convince you. You know what I mean, though? So like it's a generalization, but much more often than not, explaining more always led to just more headache, and it was literally lost cause. There was no point in doing it. So I can understand it from the other side too with that. Both suck. Both cases suck here, you know what I mean? I don't know. Because I feel both ways. At one point, I'm like, well, that makes sense if they just say, oh, you know, it usually leads to these pointless conversations. We can't waste resources on it. But I also understand from my perspective, I should always be able to talk to a real person if I want to appeal something. Right? Like both sides are true. And both sides are generalizations, you know? Because, yeah, I should be able to talk to someone directly because I know I would be doing something in good faith. If they explained it to me, I would just be like, okay, I get the rule now. I know that about me, but how many people are there that would get banned and would not be like that and would be a pain in the ass? And be like, change your rules now, you know? So like, I don't know. When you don't have that data, I can't really like pick a side and be like, this is the way to do it, or like come up with one be all end all answer or anything like that, because unless I literally have all of their data, I cannot make an informed decision on that. You know what I mean? Like there's just no way. Correcting mistakes via Twitter outrage seems cheaper than preventative measures. Yeah. Isn't that sad? Post about it, get people to know about it. I will say, like, a lot of streamers won't get themselves involved in other streamers' issues like that on a public forum, but a lot of them will behind the scenes tap someone that they know at Twitch and be like, hey, why did this happen? So like with some of the recent situations, I hate when people are like, oh, why aren't people speaking up on this? Why aren't people blah, blah, blah. Sometimes they are doing stuff behind the scenes and you just won't know about it because publicly getting into it is not like worth it for that person from a brand perspective, but they might very well be tapping people on the back end. I have done that many times. I've had friends have issues. Some people that I'm not friends with have really weird issues. And I've been like, well, I have a representative I can talk directly to. I'm gonna ask. I've done that, but I don't talk about it. I don't post on, on Twitter about it. But there will be people that'll be like, why are you so silent? And I'm like, yeah, because you sit at my computer and know everything I say to everyone every day, right? You know what I mean? Like, you know what I'm saying? But yeah, there are people that do that stuff, for sure. It's annoying seeing those comments. It's annoying for me as someone who does do that shit. When a friend is dealing with some bullshit, I like am always there helping. And I don't talk about it. Because I'm not a like social credit Andy, okay? I'm not going on Twitter and I'm like, I want you all to know that I'm so virtuous and I helped this person out with this thing. Clap for me, give me engagement, you know? And sometimes it's not someone's intent to do that. Sometimes they just want to talk about it because they just are like, hey, I thought this was good. But like, I just stay really hard in my lane and like, that's it. So I'll never talk about this shit, even if it's like positive. I'm just like, it doesn't have to do with me. But like, yeah, I tap people on the back end when something's going on. Yeah, I do. If you're my friend, if you're a friend of my friend, if you're someone I don't know that well, but I like your content, whatever. You know what I mean? But yeah, I don't know. But you see so many comments of people being like, it didn't happen in front of me, so clearly it's not happening.